Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Jewellery World Awards 2021 announcement of honorees and webinar. The event will start in 1 minute. Welcome to the Jewellery World Awards JWA 2021 virtual announcement of honorees and webinar. My name is Edna Wong, and I will be the host for this occasion. Despite the ongoing pandemic and travel restrictions, we are very excited that we could still connect different parts of the world virtually. Today, there will be two parts. We will first announce the 2021 JWA honorees, followed by the first of the JWA webinar series, applying complementary strategy to drive sales. At the end of each part, there is a Q&A session. All questions can only be raised in the Q&A box, which is located at the bottom of the screen in the control panel. This is a recorded session, which will be available on the JWA website and social media platforms after the event. In addition, there is a live streaming on Facebook. So for those who have not registered and would like to participate, they can join us on Facebook. Let me start by inviting Mr. David Bondi, Senior Vice President, Asia at Informa Markets, to give his welcoming words. David, please.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the Jewellery World Awards 2021 announcement of honorees. This year marks the 10th edition of the award event, and we rebranded it from JNA Awards, that you all know, to Jewellery World Awards, JWA, as we shift from a more Asian focus to a more international and inclusive to support a global industry. The award ceremony has always been taking place on the sideline of an international jewelry fair. In the past, it has been hosted during the September Jewelry and Gem Fair in Hong Kong. Given the travel restrictions in Hong Kong, the award ceremony of the 2021 JWA will be held in Dubai on February 21st, 2022, during the Jewelry and Gem Technology Dubai, GGT Dubai, that we jointly organized between IEG and Informa Markets Jewelry. And this is the first international event for the trade since 2019 that we will organize. Together with a portfolio of international fairs, media and digital platforms, Informa Markets Jewelry is committed to offer a comprehensive network to create synergies and business opportunities for the jewelry trade. 2021 remains a challenging year for the jewelry industry, but JWA has always been focusing on the positives. So we are proud to share that we have received a record-breaking number of 151 registrants from 34 countries and regions across 6 continents. And we cannot do this without the support of our sponsors, and they are our headline partners, Chow Tai Fook Jewelry Group, Shanghai Diamond Exchange, and our honored partners, KGK Group, Guangdonglan Shenzhen Company Limited. I would like to thank the judging panel who has worked so diligently to review all the entries and shortlist the companies and entrepreneur among a highly qualified pool. In a moment, Laetitia and I will announce the list of honorees for the 7 categories. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Our partners are the pillars of this award event. Our 2 headline partners, Chow Tai Fook Jewellery Group and Shanghai Diamond Exchange, have been with us since the inception 10 years ago. They will now share a few words with us through a pre-recorded speech. We first welcome Mr. Peter Soon from Chow Tai Fook Jewellery Group.
各位珠寶業界嘅代表、媒體嘅朋友，大家好。周大福非常榮幸連續10年擔任首席嘅合作伙伴，支持珠寶業界嘅盛事。我哋好高興見到 JWA 大會今年繼續以嶄新嘅形式進行，讓全球各界嘅精英聚首一堂，共同參與啦，探討未來嘅發展同埋機遇。稍後大會公佈各入圍嘅得獎者。 在此，我衷心祝賀所有表現傑出嘅入圍企業同埋精英，多謝大家。
Thank you, Mr. Soon. Next, we welcome Mr. Lin Qiang from Shanghai Diamond Exchange.
Good evening, everyone. Shanghai Diamond Exchange has been a loyal partner of the awards for almost a decade, witnessing it growing into the most prestigious honor in the jewelry industry in Asia. After 10 years of rapid growth, the awards continues to expand globally. I'm so glad that this year we have the JWA, Jewellery World Awards. The JWA Awards encourages the global trade by setting up the stage for more outstanding jewelry enterprises and entrepreneurs to demonstrate their brilliance, their tireless pursuit for excellence, and their unwavering perseverance. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Lin. Now, this is the exciting moment we're all waiting for. Mr. Bondi and Ms. Laetitia Chow will announce the list of 2021 honorees. I would first like to invite Ms. Chow, founder and chairperson of JWA, to make the announcement for the first 4 categories. Ms. Chow.
Good day, everyone. A big warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us from Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and the Americas. Before I start announcing the list of honorees, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the judging panel. They are Mr. Albert Chang, Mr. James Courage, Mr. Lin Qiang, Dr. Mark Lee, and Ms. Rupert Bart. Thank you for your continuous support, exceptional expertise, and hard work for all these years. Tonight, we are going to announce the result of a total of 8 award categories in the JWA this year. I will announce the shortlisted companies in 4 categories, and Mr. Bondi will announce results of the other 4 categories. I know we will be so happy and excited for the honorees, and let's keep our applause to the end of the announcement for all 8 categories. The first category that I'm going to announce the result is Brand of the Year Retail. A total of 3 entrants are selected by the judging panel. They are Chow Tai Fook Jewellery Group Limited from Hong Kong, DR Corporation Limited from China, Fuyuan Jewelry Joint Stock Company from Vietnam. Congratulations. The next category is Industry Innovation of the Year. There are so many highly qualified entries. The judges really find it a tough job to shortlist the honorees. At the end, they've picked 10 companies to receive this honorees honor. Diamonds on Call Limited from Hong Kong. Emerald Jewel Industry India Limited from India. Gobelin Gem Lab from Switzerland. Khan's Jewels from UAE. McClone Jewelry Company Limited from China. Pickup Media from Hong Kong. Shenzhen Chaozuan Jewelry Company Limited from China. Shenzhen Link Gold Technology Company Limited from China. Shenzhen Xinguangda Jewelry Industrial Company Limited from China. And Shenzhen Yuehao Jewelry Company Limited from China. Congratulations to these 10 honorees. The next two categories are for Manufacturer of the Year. The first one is for diamond cutting. In this category, we have two shortlisted honorees. They are from Hong Kong, KGK Group, from India, Narola Diamonds Private Limited. Congratulations. The other Manufacturer of the Year category is for jewelry manufacturer. Again, we have two shortlisted companies. Emerald Jewel Industry India Limited from India and Fuyuan Jewelry Joint Stock Company from Vietnam. Congratulations. Now over to you, David, to announce the results of the next four categories.
Thank you, Laetitia. I've got the Outstanding Enterprise of the Year, APAC, and I've got quite a few names tonight. So CHG Jewellery, Doji Gold and Gems Group, GSC, DR Corporation Limited, KGK Group, Funuan Jewelry's Joint Stock Company, YLG Bullion Singapore Limited. Then we've got the Outstanding ESG Performance of the Year. And we've got one entry here, Shenzhen Xinguangda Jewelry Industrial Company Limited. Then we have the Outstanding Small Enterprise of the Year, 50 full-time employees and below. In that category, we've got Brilliant Cuts Limited. We've got Radha Krishna Jewelry. Finally, we've got VN Diamonds. Finally, into the Young Entrepreneur of the Year, age 40 and below. It's good to know that you're young at age 40 and below. We've got 6 key names. We've got Jan Srivasan Emerald Jewel Industrial India Limited. Sorry if I spell it wrongly. Do Main Duke, Doji Gold and Gems Group, GSC. We've got Joyi Zhao, Bogem. Nilesh Pawar, Arena Jewelry. R.A. Vindia Roshani Pereira, Brilliant Cuts Limited. And finally, William Chu, Pickup Media. That's all for me, Laetitia.
Thank you, David.
Congratulations to all our 2021 honorees. Let's now give them a big round of applause. At this time, we can take a few questions from the audience. If you would like to raise a question, please type them in the Q&A box and the control panel at the bottom of the screen. Ms. Letitia Chow will be moderating this session. Over to you, Letitia.
Thank you, Edna. I would like to start this session by inviting our judges to share their experience and feedback on the judging process. It's really a very interesting journey. Let's start with Mr. James Carriage, followed by Mrs. Nirupa Bhatt, then Dr. Mark Lee. So, James, please.
Thank you, Letitia. In what was a very difficult year, the jewelry industry's entries for the Jewellery World Awards were conspicuous for their thought-through responses as to how they protected and supported their workforce and customers with regard to COVID, and developed on many levels effective responses through technical innovations, adapted approaches to servicing customers, with added facilities to address the lack of physical communication and travel, and through innovative means, manage customer communications to meet the needs to manage and build their customer relationships and augment their services. This was reflected in the very large number of entries in the Industry Innovation of the Year category. The other area that I found encouraging was the strength of the entries in the category for Young Entrepreneur of the Year, aged 40 and below. The quality and depth of the submissions were high and professional, demonstrating a positive outlet for the leadership of the industry going forward across all stages of the pipeline, from manufacturing to retail.
Thank you, James. Nirupa, please.
Good evening, everyone, and I echo James' sentiments expressed by him about the willingness and the quality of the entry forms received. The entries and kind of demonstrated the determination of each and every participant or their willingness and the efforts that they have made to reach out to their customers. The other very, very important observation, as far as I am concerned, is that, we all know that technology is a big enabler, and technology is used in manufacturing for many years. I think we saw lots of efforts and examples of how the jewelers from small, medium, big, small entrepreneur, designer, have really used technology to engage with their customer base. And even some who are not necessarily jewelers but have come together and are offering platforms for jewelers and make it easier for them to work. My compliments to all the honorees and to the JWA team led by Letitia for continuing to build this effort to recognize the efforts of the industry participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nirupa. Dr. Lee?
Our institute conducts researches regarding industry transformation and found that digitalization has been the major changing force even before the pandemic. COVID-19 further accelerated the process of digital transformation across industries, which made innovations critical and crucial, not just for growth, but also for survival. I was so impressed to see the candidates' passion, innovation, and their contribution to the jewelry and gemstone industry in such a challenging market condition. The JWA is an excellent platform to showcase the industry development and successes, and amplifies the efforts that the participants have put in. Congratulations to all, and I wish the industry brilliant success. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Since our two other judges, Mr. Albert Chang and Mr. Lin Qiang could not join us live online. They have recorded their messages. Let's hear their message now.
As one of the judges of the JWA Awards, I could easily notice from this year's application that the JWA is truly a grand event of the world jewelry industry. It is more professional, diversified, and internationally influential. It is participated by both large enterprises and startups all around the world. Each category is highly competitive with innovation and breakthroughs. It is more and more difficult for the judges to choose the honorees. As SD always believes, by supporting the JWA Awards, we are supporting and contributing to the whole industry. Congratulations and all the best to the honorees of the JWA Awards 2021.
Looking back at the judging journey this year in the past few weeks, I'm happy to see steady sales revenue in the past 3 years as reported by most participants of this year's JWA Awards. A slight dip in 2019. Our jewelry industry has demonstrated its resiliency amid pandemic. I'm also pleasantly surprised with their plumb and creative response in tackling their challenges and to deal with opportunities as reflected at their entry.
Thank you very much, judges. Let me see, what questions do we have? I think that we need the judges simple to answer this question. What are the most interesting trends you have seen from the entry forms? So I would like to invite all the judges joining us online to share their observation. So we start with Mrs. Nirupa Bhatt first. Nirupa, please.
One thing that I noticed, as I mentioned in my remark as well, is that the participants have really used technology and maximized their potential to reach out to their customers. And I think the awareness about what needs to be done to really satisfy the customers is, I think, getting more and more priority. The other very important thing that I have also noticed is about the sustainability. I think more companies are making efforts towards operating in a very sustainable environment. That is really very, very appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bhatt. How about Dr. Lee? Maybe you, yeah, please share.
Yes, from my research, in this year, I also found sustainability is very critical and become key success factors. My research found that consumers and customers were educated by the COVID. Customers now pay more attention to our environment for our future and our world. So therefore, they look for company with a vision and passion for sustainability, and also have a policy to take care of their people and employees. This is one of the trends that I found more significant in this year. Thank you.
Thank you, James. So from the entry forms, do you identify some interesting cases? What are the trends?
I think, thank you, Letitia. I think that what I noticed was the very rapid response of the industry to the crisis, and a response that was notable both for its focus on what they needed to do within their organizations and what a priority their staff were, what a priority the local community was, and to look at ways that they could help them and the environment in which they operated. And then really in parallel to that, which must have been tough for so many of the entrants, this need to completely change for many the way they operated. The chance to sit across the table from someone, to travel and see, was just taken away. And that had to be replaced through social media and other forms. But it was done so successfully, I think, by many, that they found that they actually achieved sales in areas that perhaps they hadn't been so successful in before. So whilst there was an enormous and remains a huge challenge with COVID, it did bring out the best. And it did mean that people often changed further than they might have done without that extra impetus.
Very good. Thank you, James. And these questions must be coming from an entrant. What are the things to be improved on for the entrants that were not shortlisted? What are the things to be improved on for the entrants that were not shortlisted? So they are asking, they're seeking advice from the judging panel how to improve their entry forms in for future. So please, who would like to take this question?
I'm happy to.
Nirupa. Yeah, okay, so Nirupa first and then James, followed by Dr. Lee. Nirupa,
Okay,
please.
otherwise, okay. What I would say is my recommendation to all the participants is that please give specific information. We often find that in the entry form, although it is very, categorized and the questions are asked, that what information are we looking for, but still sometimes we find that the information that is provided is not very relevant or does not really help the cause for which you have filled the forms. So I would recommend that you please read the form properly. The other thing also is, if you are filling form for more than one entry, just don't send the same entry form for all the entries, because the organizers very specifically have explained what are they looking for from particular entries. And I would request you all to please read it carefully and then answer. That will really, really help. All of you do a wonderful job. All of you make so much efforts. We would really, really like to hear more specifics and understand more so we can appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nirupa. So James?
First of all, I join Nirupa in thanking the entrants for the effort that they do make. We recognize that it takes up a great deal of time and a lot of work to complete the form fully and keep us as informed as possible in response to the criteria. And I think the point, again, I'd like to build on from what Nirupa said is, do make sure that you fully respond to the requests made for each of the categories. And if you do enter more than one category, don't repeat what you said for the other category. We're already clear on that. So I would suggest that it's important to focus on detail. It's important to make sure that we understand the context of your response, and that you do use the opportunity to add additional information in a visual form, if possible, to give us a little bit more of an insight. What I would add is that I found particularly this year that the quality of the websites of many of the entrants provided a lot of useful additional insight into how the company wanted to be seen by its customer. And that, alongside the answers given, was useful to me in making a judgment.
Thank you, James. Dr. Lee, I have to give you a new question, and we only have 30 seconds for the answer.
Yes.
So aside from digital transformation, what other areas did the innovation entries focus on?
The innovation, not just from the supply side, the innovation is one area is about the demand side. Some successful brands, they create new market segment, like creating a new blue oceans, that they make their brands more relevant to the millennials, for example, and also they give a new values and new concept to the jewelry. So this is we call it the blue ocean strategy, not just making things better, faster, or transform into a digital communication channel. It also create new values, create new niche market segment. And this is the innovation we could see from some of the successful entries in this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Thank you to the audience for raising interesting questions. Thank you for our judging panel addressing all these questions. And I have to give the microphone back to Edna.
Thank you, Letitia, and thank you, judges, for sharing your comments and feedback. This concludes the honorary announcement, but please stay with us for the second part of the program. It's the first of the JWA webinar series under Leading Through Change and Uncertainty. Today's topic will be on applying complementary strategy to drive sales. We will be right back after these messages, so stay with us.
这里是世界钻石进入中国市场的门户。上海钻石交易所是经国务院授权成立的国家级要素市场，中国大陆唯一的钻石进出口交易平台。未来，上海钻交所将努力向数字化和科技化平台发展，打造立足上海、覆盖全国、连通全球的网络化交易平台，为促进中国钻石市场的进一步健康有序发展做出更大贡献。
Welcome to the JWA webinar series, Leading Through Change and Uncertainty. This webinar series is brought to you by Fuyuan Jewellery Joint Stock Company, PNJ, a leading jewelry manufacturer in Asia. Hello again, my name is Edna Wong, and I will be the host for this webinar. This is the first of the JWA webinar series, and the topic today is on applying complementary strategy to drive sales. These webinars are designed to be thought-provoking, act as a platform to explore new ideas and a means to discover different ways of doing things. It is intended to be interactive and engaging. We are honored to have Dr. Mark Lee, Research Director of Asia Pacific Institute for Strategy, as our keynote speaker. Dr. Lee will be presenting the concepts of complementary strategy, how to create value to complement your existing products so that customers are willing to pay more. On the panel today, we have three leaders from the trade. Dr. Daniel Nefela, Managing Director of Google Gem Lab, Mr. Sanjay Kothari, Vice Chairman of KGK Group, and Mr. Victor Yu, Director of BTC Group. They will be sharing their insights and comments from the trade perspective. Before we start, let's hear a pre-recorded message from P&J, our webinar sponsor.
Good day, everyone. It is my pleasure to partner with Informal Markets to bring you the 2021 JWA webinar series. P&J has been part of the JNA Awards before it rebranded to Jewellery World Awards, JWA. For the past 6 years, as both honoree and recipient in different categories, we fully support this platform as a unique channel to make the jewelry industry better connected and stronger. The 2021 JWA webinar series will be conducted in 3 parts under the theme of Leading Through Changes and Uncertainties. Today is the first of the 3 series, and we are lucky to have experts in both the jewelry and business fields to share their perspective and insights. Without further ado, let's hear from the distinguished speaker on applying complementary strategy to drive sales.
Thank you, Mr. Dao from P&J. Now, let me pass the microphone to Dr. Mark Lee, who will be leading this discussion. Dr. Lee, please.
Yes, Anna. Let me share my slide with you. Okay. Today, I will first present some content, and then I will have the first round of a group discussion among the panelists, and then I will present the second part, and then group discussion again, and then the third part of my presentation. So in other words, I break my presentation into 3 parts, and there are some panel discussion among them. The idea is to let the audience have a systematic framework about how to manage their business in uncertainty. So therefore, today's topic is about value complement strategy. As you can see in my red dot, value complement strategy. Many of my executive students told me that, oh, the industry is so challenging, and they found out that their products are getting aging. The product life cycle already aged long before. So how could they increase the sales or increase market share or even increase prices? So therefore, I would like to introduce you a management concept called complementary strategy. How to use complements to raise prices by higher willingness to pay by customers. Let me start with a real case. For example, if we are in Paris together, and we want to find a good restaurant to have a dinner together, what would you do to find a good restaurant? Maybe you ask your friend, Or maybe you search some online website like Lafayette or La Foodie, or you search a TripAdvisor or Eater. But think about that. If you are really willing to spend higher prices to get the best of the best restaurant in Paris, where would you search? Of course, you may tell me that you want to search the best restaurant from a Thai companies, a producer of automobile tires. Of course, you know which one you will ask. You will ask Michelin. Michelin has a very famous restaurant guide. But do you think it is strange that a Thai company create a traveling guide to recommend good restaurants? So let me give you a little bit more background. All of us know that Michelin is a Thai company, produce tire for cars and automobiles. Back to 120 years ago, in 1898, Michelin already be the market leader of the Thai suppliers to many car makers. At that time, all the famous car makers like Beng, Deonda, and Botun, Puget, and Pahar and Lavasa, they all use Michelin's tires. If you are the owner or the boss of Michelin, you may be very happy. Oh, I am the market leader already, right? But the owner, the brothers of Michelin, they found out that the biggest challenge is not to be the market leader. The biggest challenge is the market size is fixed. How could we make the pie bigger, make the market bigger? It's just like today, in many industries like jewelry industries, rather than just think about how I could get larger market share, how could we make the jewelry market bigger and bigger so that everyone can enjoy the growth and make the industry stronger and healthier? Let me give you a little bit background about cars at that time. If you want to, what is the purpose at that time for a car? You may want to say a car, of course, is for transportation, to transport someone from point A to point B. But let me tell you, at that time, back to 120 years ago, people prefer to use horses to travel around because the cost is much lower and more effective and less hassle to maintain a mechanical monster like a car. Then what is the purpose for a car at that time? Actually, cars are for sport only because it is so expensive and also it is very hard to maintain. So therefore, cars are only for the rich people to achieving exciting races, but they are not for daily transportations. Look at the statistics. In 1900, France had only 5,600 drivers, and there were around 619 companies that built cars. So that means each car company produced less than 10 cars. It is like a boutique house. So it's like a tailor to tailor-made a suit for the VIP. Car is only for VIP, the rich people. In other words, think about that. How many tires you could sell every year? If you only have around 5,000 drivers, maybe there are around 6,000 cars around. So each car has 4 wheels. You may be talking about 24,000 tires. That is the maximum number of tires you could sell every year. The question is how we could make the company grow. One way is to create bigger demand. So therefore, the Michelin's brothers think about how to increase customers' willingness to pay. How to make customers think that, yes, it is worthwhile to spend the money to buy the car. So that means make the car more worthy. So, but, as I mentioned, cars are like a hobby for the rich. They don't have a large market yet. So look at this diagram. This is the car back to 1900. So usually you can see that the car is trying to make a horse. People ride on top of it, so the customer have the easier acceptance way of riding on the car, like riding a horse. Michelin Brothers think about that. If you want to sell more tires, the point is encourage people buy more cars. If you want people buy more cars, encourage them to drive more. So they want to expand the use of cars. So therefore, they create a new idea. How about we create a Michelin Guide? The Michelin Guide was first published in 1900. Inside, there are hundreds of maps. Because at that time, even you are rich, you have a car, you don't know where to go. Because if you follow a map, you could just drive near those places around your home. If you use a map, you can drive longer. And, the chance that you will break your tire get higher. If you break your tire, then you need to have more opportunity to replace a new tire and create new demands for Michelin. So how to attract the customer to drive more of their cars? So the broader thing about that, okay, if we could publish the Michelin guidebook, then people will travel more. So look at this is the real guide Michelin published 121 years ago. You can see that they have many maps, and also they highlight the restaurant, the gasoline station, the pharmacy. It becomes a very useful guide for drivers. You can see it is written offer free of charge to drivers. This complement product, the guidebook, is for free. Give it to customers. When customers have the books, they will find driving more valuable, so that their willingness to pay will be increased. The purpose of Michelin Guide is to provide a lot of useful information, and so that they know where they could buy tire and how to get some complement services. For example, at that time, the roads with quality is not too many, okay? So therefore, the map tell you, so where the roads are tedious routes, so you need to be careful. You probably not to drive there because it's so bumpy. And they would also tell you, the guide tell you, when you drive along the river, you could see a very good scene from the road, so that they attract people to go to some good places to look at the scene. In addition to the entertainment values, they also provide some utilities information. I think it's just like nowadays Google Map. So you turn to the Google Map, if you want to find a gasoline station, get Google Map will tell you where is it. Then the Michelin Guide help the drivers easily find gas stations. Actually, at the time, if you want to buy gasoline, there's no gas station at all, because usually people buy gas from pharmacies. Of course, not all pharmacies sell gasoline. In other words, Michelin solved the problem of getting the energy supply conveniently to the drivers. More than the function of Google Maps, it also has similar function like today Facebook-like function. First, they would tell you some charging station where the owners are friendly. Because at that time, inside the car, they also have a large battery, but the quality of the battery was not very good. So therefore, the driver need to recharge the battery every time after the driving. And then they would tell you where you could find good charger for your battery. At the same time, they give you some recommendation about good restaurant. They give you 3-star system. 3-star means exceptional cuisine, 2 means excellent cooking, 1 means high quality. So because when people travel along, they want to enjoy the time with their families or friends, a good restaurant help. So therefore they would tell you, okay, you travel a long way. If you don't know where to eat, I give you some hints. And also Michelin, they also lobby the government to put road signs. Nowadays, road signs seems to be a very common thing, but at the time, roads are for horses. They don't need road signs. And Michelin understand that if they could encourage the government to make up more road signs, then the driver may find driving car a very useful experience. So according to Harvard professor, Professor Philip Oberholsky, he said that products and services that raise the willingness to pay for another product are called complement. So in the past, without Michelin's guide, a car is only for sport. Now Michelin guide make the cost of ownership lower because you could easily find supplier of gasoline, tire, battery, and other utilities for the cars. And also they increase the value of the car because you have a better scene during your driving experience, and you can find a good restaurant to take rest. So this is the way that we could use complement to increase customer willingness to pay. In other words, if we want to raise our price, the best strategy is we think about how to increase customers' willingness to pay first. Then it will help us to increase our chance to success, to lobby the customer to buy your product or even willing to give higher prices. Okay, let me resume sharing first. Okay, let me see what happened here. Willingness to pay. Well, let me back to here. Okay. So therefore, this is the first case I want to share with you, and let me stop here for the first break and listen to our panelists sharing and their thought based on this complement strategy. So may I invite our fellow panel, Dr. Nifila, Sanjay, and Victor. Please feel free to share your thoughts based on the case according to your experience and your industry expertise.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lee, for handing over. I don't have an example that is as striking as the example that you made with Michelin, which started with tires and ended up as a restaurant guide. But the last couple of years that we have went through in the Gubelin Gem Lab also has some kind of similarities. Some people in the audience might know us, we are a gem lab. So we are looking at gemstones, we are trying to find out certain things, such as if the stone is treated, where it is coming from. Why does our industry, the jewelry and gemstone industry, need gem labs? Because there's a certain level of distrust or intransparency in the industry. You might trust your supplier, but you might not even know the supplier of your supplier. So there's potentially a certain level of uncertainty whether that stone is now indeed not treated, whether that stone is indeed coming from Burma or from Kashmir, or if maybe something else happened. And we are basically a pretty lousy patch to fix that intransparency that we have. So GemLab reports are not a perfect fix for that intransparency. That's why we have eventually decided that we want to question what we are doing. And we came to the conclusion that nowadays there are technologies around that would actually, that are better to fulfill the purpose of knowing what you are intending to buy. And that's where we have started the provenance proof initiative, where that's where we have started to develop nanoparticles that we can insert into a stone, into the rough stone at the mine. That's what has encouraged up to come up with the provenance proof blockchain. That is basically a digital logbook that is accompanying the stone from the very beginning at the mine, all along its value chain, from each stakeholder, from each owner to the next one, and basically collecting in a very secure way all the information and all the process, the lifetime that a stone is going through. And we have done that in the hope that eventually long-term vision, gem lab reports might become obsolete, because we do have tamper-proof history of the stone. We know based on certain physical traces where the stone is coming from, and we have an uninterrupted chain of custody, a digital logbook that has shown where the stone has gone through. So basically we are shooting ourselves in our foot, because our lab services might become obsolete over time, which is a good thing, because it's better for the industry to have a better solution, and it's ultimately better for the end consumer. So we as a gem lab, we should not stick to our 100-year-old business model. We should be open to kind of embrace something new, consciously accepting or knowing that it might make our traditional service obsolete over time.
Dr. Nifela, I may want to ask a follow-up question as you understand that your service may become obsolete after some years, and you understand the importance of innovation and provide new complement service to the industry. What are the biggest challenge for you to manage the existing business and balance the need for the new business? How could you balance two boards at the same time?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm not even sure if we are that good in finding that balance, because we realize that many players in the industry, specifically the midstream, you know, the dealers in the middle, they might not be overly enthusiastic about us bringing transparency into the value chain, because quite many of them, their business model might be the intransparency, you know, and with a supply chain that now suddenly you have a lot of transparency, you might risk that you become obsolete. So that you might get shortcut, you know, if your client knows about who your supplier is, and the only thing that you do is basically just making a transfer and adding your 5% on the stone, then you risk of being sidelined and not being needed anymore. So to come back to your question, what we try to do is to create awareness that it's not so much about us doing what we did in the past, but more about giving the end consumer what he rightfully is expecting, which is transparency. If I go to a grocery store and I buy a piece of meat or a salad, there's a good chance that I have a QR code somewhere and I see where it's coming from. For a product that costs $5 or $10. So if I'm spending thousands or 10,000 or hundreds of thousands for a high value jewelry item, I rightfully expect that I know its full history in a reliable way. So we cannot just continue how we did in the past. You know, the end consumer expects it. If we cannot deliver this transparency, they will walk away for other go aim for other luxury products. That's the situation that we have, and that's what we hope the industry will understand, our dealers will understand, although for them it might mean to rethink what is the value addition that they are doing to a product.
Wow, that's a very good sharing. And Dr. Nifela remind us that innovation is you need to focus on the customers rather than your products, rather than all your sales figures. Just think more about your customers, what they will get eventually in the future, and you use your energy to pursue this direction, and you will get the reward eventually. Thank you, Dr. Nifela's sharing. How about Sanjay and Victor?
Correct, yeah. So Dr. Lee, very interesting conversation with Dr. Daniel, you know, but we are in the midstream part of the business, right? We always feel that the labs are very important, the certification is very important. So I would like to tell Dr. Daniel, don't worry, you will always be in the business, because every consumer needs an authentication from a third party rather than the manufacturer or the distributor. But yes, it's very important, you know, we have to recalibrate our business always as we are going through challenging times. Every company needs to recalibrate their business and understand what the market requirement is in today's time. So we see the consumer patterns are always changing. You know, people are going from manual to digital way of functioning. You know, the younger generation, the millennials and the younger generation are in need of instant gratification. So we need to provide them services, we need to provide them product, and we need to provide them flexibility of choosing the product instantaneously. So we do need, digital platforms. That's the only way we can get closer to the consumers. We're into the midstream, so we always have to take care of our retailers as well, who in turn, take care of the consumers. So we have to make sure from the stone perspective that we make them very well aware. We educate them well of the different stones which are coming in the market. For example, the Paraibas, they are moving well. People around there of Paraibas. So we need to make sure that we explain to our retailers, explain to our clients about that stone in a more professional way, which in turn, they can explain to their consumers, and thus, a need can arise to grow one more stone in the market. As far as designs are concerned, we're always very innovative in the designing field. That's the heart of the business. We need to understand the trends of the consumers, and it keeps on changing from country to country, from from a different age group as well. So we have to be always following the different trades. We have to follow the garment business, how they change colors in the year. We have to follow the patterns. And to some extent, we need to adapt it into our jewelry as well, or follow the larger brands. From the technology and the manufacturing perspective, yes, digitization has become a very important aspect to speed up the process of delivery, because like I said, everybody is in the world of instant gratification. We have to create the just-in-time delivery models for our clients, so they can't wait for 3 weeks and 4 weeks and 5 weeks like they used to. We need to supply them, ASAP. So we need to improve our technology. From the sales perspective, yes, we are creating platforms so our clients can get into our own platforms and remodel the jewelry, change the stone, change the size, maybe tweak the design slightly instantly. So they don't have to go back and forth explaining a number of people what they need. So digitization is going to help us to deal with our customers, and in turn also deal with the consumers as well.
Sanjay, I learned from you that as a B2B company,
yes,
if you want to increase the WTP, the customers' willingness to pay, one strategy is to enable our distributor. So that means our immediate customers, and provide some support, digital platform, useful information, or even how to sell the values of the product to the end consumers. Then we could enable them to deliver higher value to the end customers. So give you an example, is like there's in Italy, there's a large wine manufacturers. Because in Italy, there are so many small wine shops on the streets, mom and pop stores. They don't know how to sell expensive or new type of liquor. So therefore, they use platform, they have education program, and also they calculate the best price mix for the mom and pop store, where to put the expensive wine, where to put the cheap wine, and how to sell them as a combo. So this is what a large company, because they have data, they have the expert, they have the analytics, they could enable as a complement service to their distributor to create higher value to the consumers.
Exactly.
Thank you for Sanjay's inspiration. How about Victor? What do you think?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Dr. Lee, Mr. Sanjay, Mr. Daniel, and everybody around the world. So today, I think I'm very pleased to listen to Dr. Lee's case, because I think it's very interesting and inspirational for our industry, especially for the Michelin case, because the Michelin case taught us that we need to find a way to drive the demand for the product. For example, Michelin brothers, they invented restaurant guides, so to make sure the drivers have a more enjoyable driving experience, so they can drive the demand for the cars. I think for diamond industry, I'm sure everybody around in the room will agree with me that it's the emotional that drive the demand of diamonds, because when you get married, you get triggered, it's the emotional side. So one of the key value for diamond is the emotional part. So what as our industry need to do is to trigger more emotional to draw more demand for our industry. I think this is one of the key parts that we have to tackle and what we have to learn from the Michelin case as well. So just to share a little bit about our industry, I think first thing we understand is nowadays the diamond price is very transparent. So the willingness to pay, I think it's very hard. When the diamond price is so transparent, it's hard to ask for people to pay extra. But at the same time, if you work on some of the design, if you make the diamond into a very interesting and emotional concept, design, craftsman, and even the price point, I think you can make the whole story very different. The willingness to pay and then also the demand side to drive the demand, I think it could be very different. So for our company, we used to be, like Sanjay, we are the diamond dealers. But at the same time, 12 years ago, we start to move on the jewelry design and we work very hard on the product development, making very emotional stories, concept, to drive the demand. So especially to sell along with our lovely diamonds as well. So we have to make very emotional stories to come along to the market. And one observation that we learned from Dr. Mark Lee as well is about the product innovation and creativity. Because in the old days, for example, take our company as example, we used to research and develop on maybe about 5 collections per year. But now, this year, we make about 10 collections in 2 months. So the turnaround time is much quicker because there's no time for us to delay. We have to make I think because the consumer taste change very quickly, and then also the market change very quickly. In order to capture the right emotion and also the market, we have to be very quick. So the turnaround the time is very. We have to be quick on the innovation. There's no time to drag along for the innovation. We have to be quick, precise, and we have to know about the market and get the right emotion to the market. I think as the industry as a whole, I totally agree with Mr. Sanjay. We have to find the consumer interest, what the consumer are really interested at, to drive the emotional value of the diamond products.
I see. Victor, actually, you remind me about the commoditization because the information is so transparent. Like diamond, like air ticket, everything that you could compare the price online. And it actually this make a complement service more important. I have an executive student. He actually produced banner to the market. Banner is for promotion. So it's just like a printing company, right? You just print so many things. The strategy he made, he told me actually, he make very low gross profit by selling banners. Actually, he told me that he make profit from the complement service, like adding an extra protection layer, or the standard printing day is 5 days. Now you could make it in 1 day, and also make an extra large size or have some environmental protection material to make the banners. So if we could have complement, then it create a new profit center. So maybe selling some generic diamond, you may earn a kind of minimal economic profit. But if you have complement service like some special story, some special track and trace, or you book a service from Dr. Daniel Naveller's, he may give you special track and trace checking service as a solution. Then we could use the complement to earn enough profit to support those commodity trade. So we could see that many industry doing this way, even like financial industry, like banking, if they're doing just some daily transaction checking service, it's hard for them to make business. But they use it as the complement service to maintain the relationship with the client. If the client have a huge investment, then they may make the money from the investment. So this is the first part of my sharing. So let me jump to the slide again. Okay, here. So Professor Felix give us the model called value stick. I look at the question and answer section. Some audience ask what is WTP. So you can see here. So if you want to know how much value does your firm create, Professor Felix Oberhosky, he said that is willingness to pay minus willingness to sell. Willingness to pay is the maximum value customer willing to pay you. Willingness to sell is the minimum fee that you need to pay to your supplier. Otherwise, the supplier won't sell the material to you. So in between the price are the value created. So the challenge we could see here is you could see that WTP, customer willingness to pay, our price must lower than WTP so that customer willing to buy. And the cost must higher than WTS so that your supplier willing to sell to you. And the margin, usually company concerned the most is the price number 2 minus number 3. If we only focus on 2 minus 3, we miss the chance of maximizing number 1. We need to push the WTP up. Like Michelin, they add complement by roads, gas station information, restaurant information to maximize driver delight. In other words, when we want to sell more jewelry or gemstone, maybe we could take a moment to stop thinking about how to earn more profit or higher revenue. Think about how to make your customer more delight, more happy. So even you are B2B suppliers, so before you think about how to increase your profit, can you how to make your distributor, agency, retailer, how to make them success before you make yourself success? If you are a retailer, how to make your niche market, no matter women, men, couples, different type of people, they have a new delight or unexpected delight. So after delight, you could think about how to, because if you could move, you could hear there's some 4 arrows on the top, you can move the delivery up, then you could increase your price a little bit upward. So give you an example is like the digital economy, as we also, they like Amazon, they are selling ebooks online. In the early days, some Wall Street analysts complained that Amazon should not enter into the electronic gadget business like ebooks, like this one. But the CEO of Amazon insists to do so. Why? Because ebook actually is not for profit. The point is to make the reading more comfortable. Because ebook use e-ink rather than LED, your eyes will get less tired after reading a long time. Because if your eyes won't get tired, you will read longer and longer, then you will burn out the book quicker, and then you will download and pay for another book. So think about how to make your customers maximize the journey of using your products so that they are willing to buy more and more. Think about like handbags. Think about your wife, your girlfriends, how many handbags they need versus how many rings, bracelets, necklace in diamond they need. My observation is nowadays, the handbag industry did a good job on ladies' demand. You think about the bag, actually just leather, uncomparable to diamond, ruby, right? But now the ladies are crazy more, especially I'm in Hong Kong. I found out that Hong Kong ladies want to show their handbag rather than their bling, bling, bling. What's the problem here? So this creates an insight that if we could increase our complement value, the demand will get higher. It's like Alibaba, an online company. They have an online e-shop. They want people have more confidence to do transaction online. So therefore, they innovate Alipay so that even consumer in China, they don't have credit card. They could have a very convenient electronic payments online. And like Microsoft, they are selling Windows, Microsoft Office. They acquire Minecraft, online game company. Why? Because if people use Minecraft as their hobbies, they may buy more Windows OS or store their data in Windows cloud servers and buy the gadget of virtual reality headsets. So let me give you another example because I want to combine my second part into my third part together, and then I will open the floor to discuss with my fellow panel again. So some company may ask Dr. Mark Lee, how about B2B? I know that for consumer, we could create a lot of experience for them, emotion, story. So how about B2B? I give you several examples like customer empathy for B2B, like TAL. TAL produce every 6 search in US. One of them are produced by TAL Group, one of the largest men's search producers. So one of the key customer is JCPenney, the retail chain. So what are their complement service? They provide automatic stock replenishment and JCPenney. So that means JCPenney do not need to carry too much inventory in their warehouse, in their stores. And TL will take the responsibility. I will prepare the fabric. I make sure I produce on time. If I cannot on time, I will use air freight to ship to your shop directly. So in other words, it lowered the cost of their partner of doing business, use information. And also this is a thing about your own database. Complementary can utilize your business partner's information and create new value to increase the willingness to pay to work with you. If I buy a shirt from a middle of nowhere supplier, maybe $1 cheaper than you, but I need to handle the PO, forecast the data, I need to pay the air freight cost, definitely it was much higher than that $1. So this is the reason our research found that nowadays companies spend many of time to think about ecosystems. Ecosystem is not just a thing about we partner together to sell products. It's about how you share and integrate and create value and optimize the operation together. And I'll give you an example like Hamburg Enterprise. Hamburg Enterprise actually is one of my executive students. Their customers are buyer in US. They buy some garments. What can they do? Produce better clothes? Yes, definitely they need to produce better clothes at lower cost. Yeah, you do it every day. But they think about the complement in financial services. So I want to reduce my import tax, which is especially nowadays the trade dispute among many countries. They say that, okay, in the past, I give you my price and then you use my price to report to the custom and pay tax. Okay, then I let you see through my cost structure. Because in the past, I use certain money to buy the materials and then on top, I add my service charge. Now they separated, I let you know my true cost. You can report my true cost to the custom. You just need to pay the tax on top of the true cost. And then you see my true cost, then I trust that you won't squeeze my profit. You just need to pay my product manufacturing service as consultancy fee. Rather than I hide the service inside the product cost as my margin. So this is one way that you trust each other, you work together to complement. Maybe jewelry like distributor and suppliers, and also exchange, you all work together and have more customer data and create industry-wide information to support the selling procedure, create new values. Similar, Siri is one of the leading lingerie producer in the world. One of the leading UK brand asked them to manage the whole series of their products. They provide free consultant service. So, and then we move to B2C, give you some example, and then I open the floor for the discussion. And like McDonald's, they are not selling hamburger and French fries, they're selling meals. And even they deliver the food to you. They have McDelivery. So the customer have the complement service, don't need to go to the restaurant to pick up the food. Like there's a very famous restaurant chain in China called Haidilao. They provide a very different entertainment journey for the customer before they have the meals inside the restaurants. Like here, you could see the Haidilao. I enlarged the photo for you. Can you see that? This is the restaurant. You see at the back, there's a waiter. try to deliver the food to the table. But you can see when customer waiting, they offer a nail coloring service for the ladies. And also inside the restaurant, the waiter provides some minimal entertainment service to the customers. It becomes a very good place for family gathering and entertainment in the restaurant in one place. So have you include your customer family and friends into your jewelry experience? Have you include your suppliers, your partners, your ecosystem partner to create values? So you just think about yourself. You may have already think about all the possibilities, but if you have new partners and suppliers and customers, then you may create new ideas better. Give you one more example, like SF Express. SF Express is the leading delivery courier in China and in Asia. Many years ago, usually courier only deliver product door to door. But now they also help to collect the money, the cash, and do the exchange in front of the door back to the customers, and also doing product refund, or even surprisingly, in China, they will ask the house owner, say, do you have any garbage? I can help you to throw away. Because in China, those people live in apartment, they need to carry the garbage downstairs and go to far away to throw away the garbage. And because the deliverman will go down anyway and will pass the garbage bin anyway, they will just, oh, how about I give you a free and I have you to throw away your garbage. So this is the complement service that without adding too much cost, you create new values. And that value actually may attract some customer don't want to have your products. Maybe someone get hungry. Actually, he did not want to eat McDonald's hamburgers, but because he just don't want to go out, just want to stay home, then eventually he must eat McDonald's. Like someone want to have entertainment, even they don't want to eat hot pot. Because your complement service, they say, okay, anyway, I need to eat something. Why not go to Hai Di Lao? So this is what we think about how we could create the market bigger. So actually, jewelry's competitor is not another jewelry competitors. Your competitor may be Netflix. Why? Because the couple spend time to talk about the Squid game rather than the jewelry, the ring experience. The jewelry competitors may not be another jewelry store. Could be a high quality fashion store. This is what we need to think out of our box. We focus on the customer. There are many new companies we could think about to increase your revenue, increase your market share, and make the pie bigger like Michelin. Okay, so this is what we want to talk about today. So may I ask Dr. Daniel and Sanjay and Victor, please feel free to add some ideas for us.
Yeah, if I might start again, thank you, Dr. Lee, for these insightful examples of complements. There's one complement that I believe we have initiated exactly a year ago that also deserves the name complement. And it's addressing one point that we have observed with end consumers, which is that many end consumers, when they are sitting at the retailer in the shop and they are buying a piece of jewelry, then the salesperson is explaining them a lot, telling them a lot about that item. So they might kind of look at the ring with, say, a big aquamarine, say 20 karat aquamarine. And then that person might say, no, I want to show something smaller, but also blue. And then they might show that 3 karat or 4 karat Paraiba in a ring, and then the price ticket might be totally different. The price ticket for the small Paraiba might be much bigger than the price ticket for the big aquamarine. Now, me as the end consumer, I might ask, how comes, And then the retail person, of course, he has done his homework, and then he's explaining, Paraiba is so much rarer, and it comes from only Brazil, and there are few in Mozambique, but they look different, blah, 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 and treatment, usually they are treatment, this one is not treated. So very quickly, it becomes very complex. And for the layperson, for the private, it is almost not manageable to somehow compare what is now worth what price ticket. So that is where we wanted to go in and say, okay, in this complex world of colored gemstones, diamonds are different. Diamonds are more like commoditized almost, but colored gemstones, there are hundreds of different types of colored gemstones. You have different sizes, you have different colors, you have phenomenon, you have treatments, you have origin, country of origin. And it is even for professionals like ourselves, it's difficult to say, is now the 4-carat Paraíba from Brazil, is this now more valuable than a 2-carat pigeon blood ruby, or is it less valuable? Not easy. So that's where we said, okay, we want to kind of make use of the data that we have collected over 100 years with certain machine learning algorithms. We were feeding that data from the stones because we have the privilege to have seen many of the most valuable gemstones in our lab over the decades. So we're basically training some algorithm to find out what is kind of the best quality, what is the rarest thing. And based on that, we have created a rating system that includes quality, that includes rarity. And that is then, again, concentrated, boiled down to one single number. And this one single number is kind of giving simplicity and is giving orientation in this complex world. It's not an invention from ourselves. You know, we were peeping over to the wine industry where you have those wine rating systems like the one from Parker. And we basically were building the same or something comparable for colored gemstones, where we want to have an as comprehensive rating system, including as many parameters as possible, and bring them down to one single number to give orientation, to give a little bit of comparability to the layperson. So what we give in our rating document is basically a number. This stone has 75 points. This stone has 92 points. This stone has 85 points. It's not 100% accurate thing, but it gives what the layperson, the end consumer might need, which is orientation and comparability. So I think that is something, a complement to our standard lab testing, to our standard laboratory report that we are doing since 1 year now.
Excellent. Actually, doctor, you remind me one strategy is to make things more professional and sophisticated. It's like red wine. One of my students running wine business is you try to educate your customer, know more factors and parameters of the wine, and then the customer will addict it, not because of the taste, because of the knowledge. The more they know about the product, the complexity of the product, it is not a game. They just want to play more complex game next time, more detail. Oh, this is a very good strategy. Complement by some information, step by step, educate the customer to appreciate the technical, the rarity, the specialty of the stone. Thank you for Dr. sharing. How about Sanjay and Victor?
Right. So it's rightly said that we need to add value in every stage of our business. So we as midstream players, it's very important for us to make sure that our customers get the best value. And of course, you know, they get the ease of doing business. So what we have created now is we're in the process actually of creating an e-platform where we upload our hundreds of designs, which we create in different parts of the world, in different factories, and upload onto the platform. And since it's a very personalized business, you know, every buyer has their own feeling towards that particular model. Somebody might want a diamond, somebody might want a ruby, somebody might want a sapphire. And it's very difficult for them to communicate back and forth and get multiple designs made for the same product, but with different stones. So what we've done is we've created a platform where we have all these stones also uploaded into our system, you know, with a matrix for the rubies and for the sapphires and for the semi-precious and for various diamonds. And we allow them to pick and choose the stones from that matrix and pop it into that piece of jewelry. So instantly the color changes. So instead of a white, you can have a red. Instead of a red, you can have a blue, till they satisfy their desire that this is what we want. They can also change the metal color. So instead of a yellow metal, they would want a white metal, or they would want a rose metal. They could want a platinum, you know, so the price changes accordingly. So this gives them the leverage of designing their own jewelry. Now, not only this entire platform, we've created microsites where it can percolate into the stores. So if you want the same platform to be into their retail stores, with 40, 50, 100 stores, it can be given to the showroom managers, the same platform, and they can also play with the consumer. So if the consumer says, I like this design, and they can click on that piece, the metals can change, the stones can change, the value will come accordingly instantly, so they can make a decision. And then it goes back to the manufacturer to produce that stone. And for that need, we need factories because we can turn around. The turnaround time is very important. So we need to work very fast in a few days' time to deliver that product. So we are creating those platforms and again, recalibrating a part of our factory to give them instant solution, give them instant answers and instant deliveries as well. I think these platforms will help us to shorten the time and to reach out to a larger number of people rather than reaching out to the buyer in one large company. It will reach out to these 100 showroom people or 200 showroom people at the same time. So, this will add a lot of value.
Okay, thank you for Sanjay sharing. Because of the time limit, Victor, can you help to share your idea in 2 minutes?
Yep, sure. Thank you very much, Dr. Lee. I think one of the inspiration I take from Dr. Lee's notes is for the McDonald's license Star Wars children meal gift. Because from my experience, because I looked at Dr. Lee's notes, and then over the weekend I took my 3 sons to McDonald's, and basically what I find out is I did a market research. I find out the children meal is actually more expensive than the adult meals. But the children meal actually they have the toy go with it. With the Star Wars toys go with it. So actually, in the normal circumstances, I should actually buy the adult meal because there's more food in there. But to please my son, I have to willing to pay more to buy that special toy for my kid. So actually, one of the inspiration that I took from this case study is actually the licensed product and a crossover opportunity with different license and different artists. I think it may be a opportunity for our industry in the future. Just share with you 1 minute with a case with our client, CXJ, which is one of the honoree this time. I think they're very professional, they're very hardworking, innovative, and forward-looking. One of the license that they did in the previous 2 years is Doraemon, Ding Dong. I think that character represents dream and hope. 夢想 in Chinese 夢想 and dream and hope. For example, if you ask me to design jewelry base to represent dream and hope, I think it's not only hard to design, but it's also very hard to promote. But with that character, it already represents hope and dream to the customer. And also the IP itself is very well known, it's very well promoted. They have the emotional element in the product, which can hit the customer already instantly. And then also the consumer are willing to pay a higher price for that. So at the end of the day, I think first of all, there's an emotional story that help the product to sell better and faster, and also become a very popular item. And then also in terms of demand, you can drive because they have an emotional story behind. And also because it's already well known, the willingness to pay is higher, especially if you have the limited edition for the trendy product. I think it's also an opportunity to increase the willingness to pay for our industry. So this is my sharing and the inspiration that we got from Dr. Lee tonight.
Wow, wonderful. I'm so lucky to have such a powerful panel with me this evening. And let me just, it's really awesome. We have 5 questions, but I'm sorry that I may only be able to take 2 of them. Nowadays it's not easy to have so many questions if we don't have such a powerful panel with us. So some questions related from Ruby. What should we in the jewelry industry as a manufacturer or retailer to pay attention to when employing this strategy? My quick answer is learn from other industries. The quickest way you could earn away is to think about, pay some attention on some people not in your industry, maybe in like toy. Give you an example. Actually, today I have a lunch with a listed company selling toys. They told me that toy now have a new value. It's called it's selling about several thousand Hong Kong dollars for a toy because it is to capture the adult's memory. And also it is running a big, like they cross over Marvel and create a very look like a real person Marvel character selling for $5,000. So you could upgrade your product. Think about not to make cheaper thing, but create higher value, higher impact, and let the value re-educate the customer what is the jewelry is all about. So this is the one complement strategy that you could learn from. And another quick questions, have you seen any similar trends in the jewelry industry from the entry? Yes, Victor already mentioned about the license. License is one of the quick way that you could create a story because the license already have the story inside. But learn from Lego. Lego create their own story without relying on external license. So you could also create your own license for people to buy from you. Maybe in the future, in addition to selling jewelry, you will be selling your license to others as well. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for Dr. Nefeller, Sanjay, and Victor. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry to break up such an interesting discussion, but it's now time for, I'm afraid it's time for us to wrap up. But before we do, Ms. Letitia will give her closing remarks.
We hope you have enjoyed the intriguing and thought-provoking discussions we had tonight. My sincere gratitude to our speakers, Dr. Mark Lee, Dr. Daniel Nefeller, Mr. Sanjay Kothari, and Mr. Victor Yeo. I would also like to thank everyone who participating and making this webinar a success. We will be hosting 2 more webinars under the Leading Through Change and Uncertainty series. Please stay tuned for the upcoming ones. Anna. Okay.
Thank you, Letitia, and thank you so much for the speakers, Dr. Mark Lee, Dr. Daniel Nefeller, Mr. Sanjay Kothari, and Victor Yu. Thank you so much for joining. So this concludes our session tonight or today. And thank you very much and see you soon. We'll see you at our next webinar. And of course, we want to acknowledge our sponsor, P&J, for making this happening. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.